Hello and what's up everyone. Today I have a bit of a different video for you. If you're already subscribed, you're probably used to me rambling on about Boston sports with the occasional movie review. If you aren't already subscribed, well, why the fuck not? It's literally free. In all seriousness, subs and longer view durations are what's going to help me beat the YouTube algorithm, so the longer you guys watch, the more I'll appreciate it. But I promise you this, I am just as much of a massive nerd as I am a sports fan. Movies, TV, specifically things like superheroes, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, are all things that I geek the hell out on. Since sports are starting to die down, I'll be doing more videos like this. I'm hoping this will lead to my channel expanding to a new group of viewers, but in order to do that, I need your guys' help. You can do that by leaving a like, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and sending this video to anyone who you think might like it. And that would make you the bestest person ever. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because The Boys rules so fucking hard. And the timing seems right because season 2 just wrapped up on Amazon Prime Video. If you're a superhero fan and you haven't seen The Boys, you are missing out on quite the unique take and experience when it comes to superhero media. If you want to watch it but don't have Prime Video, there are other methods to watch. Wink wink. I'll be talking about some spoilers, but nothing too major, so if you haven't seen the show but have piqued your interest, I promise not to ruin it for you. So why do I love The Boys? Well, there's a million reasons, but I want to dive into specifics for one of the bigger ones. I truly think The Boys is the most accurate representation of what a world of superheroes would look like if it really existed. I have a different level of appreciation for this show because of that. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the MCU. Even more than that, I adore it. I mean, who didn't run around their theater like an idiot when this happened? But if there were actually that many superheroes walking among us, do you really think they'd all have the purest hearts of gold? Do you really think they'd all be amazing people? My answer is absolutely not. There's bound to be a good amount of assholes in the mix. Pretty much all of the focused on heroes in this show are bad people. Some more than others. But it's much more complex than just being an asshole. A lot of it isn't even their fault, and that's where it gets really interesting. So let's go over the different things that make The Boys feel so real. Number one is the world. What I mean by that is the world sucks. The Boys pulls no punches when showing us how this world operates and how corrupt, dark, and grimy things can get. There's a lot that we don't see or we're unaware of, and The Boys does a great job of showing what that stuff would look like. Everything is about money. Sounds familiar. In case you don't watch the show and are still watching this video, by the way, I love you, The Boys features a superhero group called the Seven, which is the equivalent to the Avengers or Justice League. The Seven is controlled by Vought, which is pretty much a spitting image of any all-powerful monopoly corporation that has more money than it could possibly hope to count. Now, let's be real. In a money-driven world, this is exactly what would happen with real-life superheroes. They would be products, images of hope turned into paychecks, capitalizing on the warm, fuzzy feeling people get when thinking about heroes. I hate to break it to you, but the people that you look up to keep you safe couldn't give less of a damn about you. It's all about public image and that cash flow. I just want to say really quickly that I think The Boys is a bit more dark and grim than what I think it would really be in real life, but it's a lot more realistic than this. Number 2, complex characters with real human problems. I'll get back to the whole Monopoly thing right after I talk about the heroes themselves. Now again, I'm not saying that characters in the MCU or the DCEU or other superhero TV shows aren't complex. What I am saying is that out of any piece of superhero movie I've ever seen, this is the show with the most layered superheroes with the most realistic personal problems. The Boys uses its longer runtime to its advantage by fleshing out these characters. And the best example of this is Homelander, who is the equivalent to Superman, but is also an evil, narcissistic, self-centered, psychotic asshole. This dude cares so much about his image and is seen by many as the greatest superhero who's ever lived. Yet, out of everyone, he's the most insecure. Homelander spends a lot of the show seeking validation from others, and when Stormfront starts to steal a bit of his thunder in Season 2, he starts to go a little extra crazy. Anyone who doesn't see eye to eye with him is usually killed. He just wants to be on top of everything. He is so egotistical that he thinks he is Vought. And he even says as much to Stan.
No, Stan, I am Vought.
While not everyone deals with these problems at the top of the world, the personal issue of self-image and wanting to be the best at what you do is a pretty damn relatable one. I think Homelander is the best and also most entertaining character on the show. He is also the most intimidating, and a lot of the time I genuinely don't know if others in the scene with him are going to make it out of said scene alive. The others have tough shit going on as well. A-Train is struggling with drug addiction and falling out of being the fastest. The Deep struggles with being a creepy weirdo who kinda hates his own powers. He can't do anything right, and he can't even look at his own gills without hating himself. Maeve is in a power struggle acting as Homelander's puppet and dealing with a bit of an abusive ex. She can't live the life she wants because of who she is. Then there's Starlight, the only one in the Seven that isn't a god-awful person. She finds out her entire life is a lie, and what they do in the Seven really doesn't matter all that much. More on that in a bit. The best part of this is that the normal human characters are going through a lot of the same shit. There's a lot of parallels that can be drawn between the boys and the superheroes throughout the show, and this really works because it shows how vulnerable the heroes can be. They might have powers on the outside, but at the end of the day, they're just as human as the rest of us. They can just also rip your face off. Number 3, lies and deception. This one combines elements of my first 2 points and is very relevant in the real world. Vought will do anything and everything within its power to keep its image intact. They lie, spin and twist things, deceive the public, and lie some more. They manipulate the facts and only show you what you want to see or hear. The general public has absolutely no idea how manipulative and disgusting their favorite superhero company really is. Okay, I know I said no major spoilers, but I really want to talk about this one. Go to this point in the video if you don't want to hear it. So Vought, and specifically Homelander, want to be part of the army because it's good for the brand and for power purposes. Keep this in mind. So, a plane full of people gets hijacked by terrorists, and Homelander fucks up the controls and steering by accident. Now, if he wanted to, he can totally save these people. If not all, at least a good amount. And that's what a hero would and should do. But Homelander sees this as an opportunity. An opportunity to further his agenda. Not only does he let every single person die after comforting them and pretending as if safety was coming, but he uses their tragedy as a stepping stone. He gets up in front of the world with crocodile tears, acting as if he gives a damn about any of the people he just let die, saying he arrived too late. He proclaims that if they were in the army, the response time would have been quicker and they would have been able to save the plane. In Homelander's and in Vought's eyes, a plane full of innocent people dying is a total victory because it gets them closer to what they want. They use shaped narratives and public outcry to their advantage, and we see that all the time in this show. Conflict creates opportunity for either money, power, or both. Pretty much nobody is innocent when it comes to this. And if you've seen the season 2 finale, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know I'm doing this again, but spoilers for the season 2 finale. If you don't want to be spoiled, go to this point in the video. You have been warned. Alright, so yeah. Literally everyone has an agenda. Stan Edgar flat out says to Butcher that the reason they have a white supremacist in the Seven is because she's good at generating chaos. And chaos is good at generating money. Vought monetizes chaos and has been throughout the entire show. Even Senator Newman has her own plans. We find out that she has some kind of superpower and that she's been the one popping people's heads like bubble wrap. The reason she's doing this is so that there's enough outcry for her little superhero surveillance group that's now being funded by the government. She sacrificed countless lives and was a literal terrorist to further her agenda. So yeah, this show takes things to the way extreme, but we see this kind of manipulation and deception from the mainstream media all the time. In today's world, I literally have no idea what's true and what isn't, and sometimes, even when I fact check, I still can't determine whether or not something is being twisted or skewed to fit some sort of narrative. We live in a world where we can no longer trust people at their word, and The Boys illustrates that brilliantly. Number 4, morally murky. Most of these characters are constantly doing things that don't exactly pass the morally right thing to do vibe check. That's because the reality is, it's almost never that cut and dry. With every action, there is usually a reaction and an adverse consequence. Some of the heroes are left wondering what the point of all this is. Does what they do really matter? The best example of this is Starlight. The purest member of the Seven starts out the show just looking to make a difference. She has powers and wants to use them for good. Pretty basic. But once she realizes what Vought is really about and what they really do, she realizes she is just another product. A product. And another pipeline for cash. She eventually starts helping the boys in their efforts to thwart Vought, but in the meantime, her day job is still being one of them. So even though her heart is good, she's been sucked into the scheme and she can't get out of it. She is enabling them even though she doesn't have much of a say in the matter. Maeve has similar struggles, and I honestly think she was a lot like Starlight when she joined the Seven. Pure and just wanting to do good. But she's a spitting example of what happens to someone when they fall too deep into the rabbit hole. Not only do you lose yourself, but you also can't get out. It's really sad because it makes you think, are these guys even really heroes? They have the powers, the costumes, and the public perception, but the reality is Vought makes these larger-than-life figures feel very small. Vought strips them of any qualities that make you think of them as heroes, even though they show them off as such. For a show filled to the brim with superpowered individuals, there's a severe lacking in heroes. The worst part is that the general public is mostly unaware of any of these behind-the-scenes shenanigans, similar to how we don't know what happens behind larger corporation doors. The world is fed what they want to see and hear, but they have no idea. It's honestly pretty terrifying. And the fact that I think that this is the most accurate representation of what a superhero world would look like is the scariest part of all. So yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave a comment on what you thought. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.